So hey guys, this is AC Guy. This is kind of where I've gotten to on my 1985 F150. You can see I've got the I've got just about everything off of it. I'm down to the frame, and you can see there's my cab, and the bed, and the quarter panels, and the doors. Here's all of my parts. I've been real careful to label everything. Of course, dash pad, AC box, AC cutout switch, starter bolts, exhaust manifold bolts, fuel neck, tail lights, the whole thing. So they're all. So this was, I think it was $100 and something at Harbor Freight, but it's well worth the money if you're going to do a big project. And it's kind of better than having bags, laying around, because you don't know if you're going to lose a Ziploc bag or you're going to find a Ziploc bag. Well, here they're all sorted out for me. They're kind of in the order that I've taken them off. So if I just, when I start putting things back on, I'll probably, start here, somewhere down here, and just start, putting things back on. So, I've got a lot done, and I didn't do any videos, and I apologize. I'm going to try to start doing some more videos, and I'll get real busy. I own an AC company, so the summer has started. I started these videos back in the fall, and so one of the most difficult things that I had to do was to get this bed off of the truck. And the reason being is that most of the bolts were rusted, and I think I've got some of them. Yeah. So I not only did I have to grind the head off of the bolt on top of the bed there, but they wouldn't fall all the way through. So then I had to actually cut the bolt in half, lift the bed slightly. When I grinded the tops off of them, they gave me the ability to lift the bed a couple of inches. And then I was able to take a sawzall between the bed and the frame, and then, cut the bolts. So 7 out of 8 bolts on the bed had to be, the tops had to be grinded off, and then they had to be cut in half. Only one bolt, this back driver's side bolt right here, actually came out all the way. Oh, it's right here. Actually came out all the way. So, I've got the 2 gas tanks off. There's the side gas tank. There's the rear gas tank. I'm on the fence about whether to replace them because they actually look in pretty good shape, and I can shine them up pretty good with a a wire wheel and some cleaner because I don't see really any rust. Even inside, I don't see any rust. So I went ahead and taped off the fuel necks there. Just know where the center units go. Just in case I do want to reuse them, I'm not getting junk inside of them. So that's something I'm just gonna have to think about as I go forward with the project. So those were probably the second hardest thing to pull off. There's a lot of rust with those bolts. Maybe the second hardest thing to get off was the rear bumper. That was a monster, as all of those bolts, those bolts are, humongous bolts, and you can see, hopefully there's enough light in there, but you can see right here, this bolt, how much rust has accumulated on it. It's just amazing. And here's another bolt here. So this truck, the previous owner, did a lot of mudding in it, and I'm just so surprised that there's absolutely, no rust through on this frame. It is all nice and clean. You can tell I've taken a wire wheel to a lot of it. I'm really getting some good, all the dirt off and getting down to bare metal, and I'm not seeing anything that worries me on this frame at all. Here's what the frame looked like, and I just haven't been able to get under these return lines yet to get that. So that's kind of what the frame looked like, and really it's a little worse on the other side because I haven't really been over here yet. So yeah, you can see right here is, that's what the frame looked like, pretty much. So today, I got a little spare time between jobs. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of messing with the transmission. Just took the starter off, 2 bolts of the starter on, and that's when I decided, I'm gonna go ahead and make a video. I've got the exhaust manifolds off. Oh, that's another thing. I'm gonna show you the exhaust manifold. on the driver's side. So, taking the exhaust manifold off on the driver's side, I had the stud was broken on this one right here. So, man, I'm having a heck of a time getting that stud out of that exhaust manifold. You know, I kind of want to reuse the manifolds. I like a manifold versus a header just for the purposes of heat dissipation and things like that. And I know that everything's going to fit right. And this is one less problem I've got to worry about. And it looks more stock. So if I can't tap this out here, I'm drilling it out, but boy, that's hard. That's some hard stuff. I've got some burr bits and stuff I'm gonna try to get in there. I just keep running drill bit after drill bit after drill bit, and I'm just not getting a hole big enough to get my to get tapped in there to get my die started. So and so here's what the other stud. These just mount the flange from your exhaust. So that one, 3 out of 4 came out good. And I just used a monkey wrench, a plumber's wrench to get those off. And I'll get some more studs. Those are nothing, dime a dozen. So, that's one issue I'm working with right now. I cut the exhaust right here so I can get it out. And you can probably notice that I've kind of took a wire wheel to the exhaust, and I actually think that this exhaust is probably pretty new. Even the inside of this exhaust doesn't look bad at all. So, I'll probably wire wheel this exhaust. It sounded great whenever I drove it in from Shreveport. So, so I'm probably going to keep that. And the funny thing was there were no exhaust manifold gaskets. There was no gasket material on here to speak of. And I don't know if they left it off or what, but the truck sounded great, ran great. I think if you see one of my first videos, you'll hear the truck running, and I don't hear any exhaust sounds coming from the engine. So I'm not sure why it didn't make those sounds, being that there was no gasket material. But it is what it is. It sounded great. Let's see, what else have I done? I mean, I've done so much. I've prepped the the cab for paint. I'm just going to try to make it as easy for the painters as possible. Maybe if I make it easy for them, they'll want to do a better job, and they'll take care of a few more details than that they normally would, because they got a little more time to work on a truck and everything's a little more accessible and a little bit easier. I don't know. But the things that I wanted to cover up, the dealer information, or the VIN information and stuff like that, I went and taped over that. Anything that I wanted to protect, I taped up. The dash, a lot of the dash is still intact, and so I wanted to protect that. The AC controls and stuff, I really don't want to mess with those those vacuum lines and things like that. I kind of want to leave them as they are, because everything worked except for well, the AC was not only working at defrost, but I found a missing vacuum line up top inside the engine bay, so I think that's going to fix that problem. But everything else was working pretty good as far as the AC control, so I really don't want to rip out that dash and do all of that. And I really don't want to paint all that. I really don't even need the interior painted. But you want to remove as much as you can for so you don't have any overspray and things like that. And you're helping the painter out. Anything you can do is something that the paint and body guys are not going to have to do. The bed, there was a little bit of rust on the bed. You can see right here, and then also on the top right here, you can see a little bit of rust. Right here. I grinded that down a little bit to kind of make it a little more visible for the paint and body guys. So I think it's going to be probably some Bondo, and they may have to weld some patches on it. I don't know. Maybe the top would, but that's going to get a bed cap on it, and also it's going to get some period correct bed rails. So the reason why I really wanted to get a video going today was because I'm taking out these flywheel bolts, and I kind of wanted to show you guys what I do when I'm taking these out. It just seems like a common sense approach to it. But I've taken the starter out, of course, and I've got a flywheel bolt right there. I've already got 2 of them off. I think there's only 3 on this thing. But what I did was I took my tool and I ground it off just a tiny bit of material where, you know, the starter, I forgot what this is called, a debris plate or whatever. Just a tiny bit off, and the starter's still going to cover that area. But I grounded it enough off to where I could get a socket on here. And you can see, let me see if I can get my socket off with just one hand. Here we go. So yeah, I mean, now I can, whereas before I wasn't able to get a socket on, now I can get a socket on. And I don't have to worry about an open-end, you know, using an open-end wrench and stripping out the, you know, the nut, which looks like is what went on, you know, prior removal, because it's a little rounded off on the top of the nut. So, you know, that gives me the ability to, you know, put a socket on there. And so also, if you'll notice, I've got these vice grips here. And some people may be cringing right now that I've got a vice grip on the flywheel, but I'm telling you, it's not really that, it's not that tight. Look at that, it's super loose, and I can pretty much do it with one hand. I might loosen this up just a little bit. But what it does is it holds the flywheel in place while I, see, watch this, it's just not a whole lot of pressure at all. We just need a little bit of friction to hold that flywheel in place while I'm removing the bolt. And you know, I'm taking really good care. You do not want to, guys, you don't want to put a whole lot of force on this vice grip. You just want it to clamp on and hold the flywheel in place. Just a very small amount of friction is going to hold that, you know, flywheel in place while you take that bolt out. So that's kind of my trick to taking the flywheel bolts off. So, you know, I've seen a lot of other guys do some other stuff up here in the front when, you know, they're doing that, but it seems to work well with me, and I've never destroyed a flywheel. And, you know, you just have to use some common sense and not, you know, bear down on the flywheel with your vice grip. Just be careful with it. So, you know, I drove this truck from Shreveport, Louisiana, on the other side of it, to Fort Worth, where I'm located. And it ran fine. So the transmission, I know, is in pretty good shape, pretty good nick. The motor is in pretty good shape. I'm still, you know, wondering what to do with the 351. There's a Summit Racing website where I can get a built 351 with 310 horsepower, carbureted, and you know, I could purchase that and be done with it, you know, whereas I'm, you know, for, I think it's $4,400 or something like that. Or I can spend 3 or 4 grand taking this motor down and building it up, not knowing what could be wrong with it, and you know, and having it gone for, you know, who knows how long before I get it back. And then I'd have to, you know, find a great guy that I know that's going to build it out for me, and you know, is trustworthy and is going to put the right parts on it so that they'll mesh and be good together, and I'm not going to have any issues because I've got a cam that's, you know, doesn't need, you know, certain things or needs other things. And, you know, those kind of things that scare me when the motor's out of my sight and I'm depending on somebody that I've, you know, never had done engine work with. So, you know, I may end up doing it, but I'm thinking I'm going to buy a built motor from Summit. And this motor is, you know, I will rebuild it or have someone rebuild it. And I'm going to put this motor in I've got another 1984 F150 step side that has the straight 6 in it. And I think I'm going to pull that straight 6 and put this 351 in it. It's pretty much plug and play for that because, you know, they have the same transmission and all that good stuff. So anyway, I know the video is going long. I just wanted to show you guys that and then just kind of update you guys on what I got going on. So anyway, I'm going to try to put some more, you know, keep going with the videos. I know somebody posted that they wanted to see, you know, some videos on the restore. If you guys have any questions or want me to you know, do a specific video on something, let me know. And you know, I'm not an expert, so don't copy me, or you know, I'm just not an expert at these kind of things. I'm going through it, you know, in the best fashion that I know how. But anyway, if you have any questions, or if you have any suggestions as to what maybe I can do with this, with the motor, should I keep it? Is there some intrinsic value in keeping the motor, the original motor, to the truck? Or should I, you know, get a built motor that already has a, you know, it's been test run for me and all that good stuff, and I'm going to get over 300 horsepower in, versus this one, it's going to make me about 215 horsepower if I leave it, you know, partially stock like it is. So anyway, you guys, if you got any suggestions, let me know. If you got any comments, you know, if I'm screwing shit up too bad, you know, let me know that too. We can all, you know, I can learn from, you know, my mistakes, and, you know, so anyway. See you guys later.